Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the top 5 books that I would like to see turned into movies. This month's top 5 is actually going to be a response video to Obsessed Reader X's video where she was talking about the top 5 books that she would like to see turned into movies. So in the description box down below, I will post a link to her full video if you want to see it. Before I share the books that I'd like to see turned into movies, I'm going to say that this list is not going to include books that I already know are rumored or are in some type of production right now. For instance, one of my favorite books is The Book Thief. That would be number 1 on my list, but that book is already being turned into a movie at the moment. At number 5 is A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, that's kind of cheating. The first 3 books were already made into movies. But that's kind of the point why I chose this series, is because it was just the first 3 books that were turned into movies. And I would love to see the entire series turned into movies. But not just live action movies. I've always kind of imagined A Series of Unfortunate Events books more as an animated type of series. Kind of like in the style of Tim Burton, for instance, like A Nightmare Before Christmas and Corpse Bride. I think A Series of Unfortunate Events would just look so much better as an animation of some sort. Plus, in the movie adaptation, there was only so much they could let Sunny do and get away with, and Sunny obviously looked like she was CGI on many occasions. And so I think in an animated series of these books, Sunny wouldn't look so silly. She would look more believable doing the things that she does. So yeah, I've always wanted to see A Series of Unfortunate Events more in the animated style because I think it would look cooler, and the things that the kids get up to and do, they would just look more believable in an animated form. Number 4, The Wicked series by Gregory Maguire. And no, I do not mean the musical. I would love to see the actual book turned into a movie, more so than the musical adaptation. I always hear people go on and on that they really enjoyed the musical, and then they pick up the book and they gripe and complain that the book is nothing like the musical. Well, duh! Everyone always complains that the Wicked books are really grotesque and naughty and risque, and they are. They're made for adults. And I have not seen the musical, but from the little snippets of stuff that I've seen from the musical, I do sense that it's much more kid-friendly, I think. And the musical doesn't get into the more deeper aspects, I don't think. But I do think the Wicked series would make excellent movies. There's 4 of them in the series. And they're a much darker take on the world of Oz, and I think that would come across really great in a movie adaptation. Number 3, The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini. And yes, I've cheated on this series like I did A Series of Unfortunate Events because the first book in this series was turned into a movie, but the rest were never turned into movies. And I would really love to see the rest of The Inheritance Cycle turned into movies. I don't know why, but I've always imagined that maybe a TV network could possibly pick up the series and they could adapt it into, like, I don't know, like Game of Thrones style maybe? Just more child-friendly, obviously. These books are just so great. There's so much depth and history, and the world building is just beautiful. So many exotic characters. And it's a shame that the rest of the books didn't get adapted as well. I personally really enjoyed the first movie. Yeah, there were things about it that could have been done better. It probably definitely needed another hour to expand on that world, but I still enjoyed what there was. Plus, Garrett Hedlund was Murtaugh. Number 2, The Romanoff Prophecy by Steve Barry. This book takes place, I guess, an alternate version of Russia, like modern Russia, I guess you can say, a what-if sort of thing. And it's about this lawyer who goes to Russia. He's there to be at these proceedings about a new Romanoff heir that's come out of nowhere. So he's there to make sure the history, the back history of this Romanoff heir is intact and that this guy can indeed become the new Romanoff Tsar. But of course, everything starts going to hell, and he gets chased by the Russian mafia, and he's on the run with this ballerina, and it's just a really great thriller, and it takes place in Russia, and I believe it moves to the States and then back to Russia. It's very much like the Da Vinci Code, if I had to compare it to anything, that treasure hunt type of thriller, where the protagonist gets a clue, and then that clue leads them to another clue, and that clue leads to another clue, until all the clues finally build up to the final climax of the story. This is just such a really great book and such a great page turner, and I've always wanted to see it turned into a movie. I think it's the type of book that would really be great as a movie, and not a lot of people know about Romanoff history, and I think this would just be a great gateway to introduce a new audience to that history. And at number 1, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I pretty much wanted to see this as a movie from the very first page. From the very first page, the descriptions were just so beautiful, so gorgeous, so much rich detail and rich characters. And you just cannot make a movie version of this. It has to be turned into a movie at some point. As far as director choices, I think I'd really love to see Tim Burton adapt this as well. Hopefully he doesn't just throw Helena Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp in there. I mean, I would love to see some different types of people, but I do picture a Tim Burton style while visualizing this movie. But yeah, I think this book would just be so terrific as a movie. Just a lot of detail and just beautiful scenery, I think. I think it would be just one of those things that would have great cinematography overall. So that's it for the top 5 books that I would like to see turned into movies. In the comments below, I would like you guys to share with me what books you would like to see turned into movies at a future point. Last month, I shared with you guys some authors that I have not read yet, but I would like to read at some point. And I asked you guys to share with me what some authors are that you would like to read. And here are your answers. An author that I mentioned last month was Elizabeth Gaskell, and Idara48, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, they said that they've only read Wives and Daughters, but they would like to continue to read more from Elizabeth Gaskell. And I totally agree. And then Nerdy11 said that they would love to read John Green. And I've heard so many things about John Green. I would love to read him as well, especially The Fault in Our Stars. I've heard just constant, non-stop praise for that book. So yeah guys, in the comments make sure you share with me what books you would like to see turned into movies, and your answers may appear on next month's show. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!